So you're thinking about moving to Ashburn, Virginia, but you're not quite sure exactly where to start your research. Well, guess what? You're in the right spot because this video is gonna be the ultimate guide to living in Ashburn. I'm gonna share with you map views, top neighborhoods, pros and cons, cost of living, fantastic drone footage of Ashburn all throughout the video, and so much more. So sit back, relax, because we're getting started right now. Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor, and welcome back to another video. Ashburn, Virginia. So since I started this YouTube channel about 3 years ago, I've done over 20 videos just on Ashburn alone. Plus, I've personally lived here since the year 2017. I absolutely love living here. So my goal with today's video was to make this the only Ashburn video you're ever gonna need to see. This video is gonna be broken down to 5 different parts. The first part is we're gonna look at map views of Ashburn. The second part is gonna be top neighborhoods that you must know about. The third part of this video is gonna be pros and cons of living right here in Ashburn. The fourth part is gonna be the cost of living, and then we're gonna dive into 5 additional things that you must know about living right here in Ashburn. So let's get it started right now with the first part of this video with the location and map views of Ashburn. So Ashburn, Virginia is gonna be one of the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and Ashburn is gonna be located in the eastern side of Loudoun County, and some of the surrounding towns is gonna be Sterling, Lansdowne, Bramilton, Aldie, Leesburg, and South Riding. So Ashburn is gonna be about 34 to 40 driving miles away from Washington, D.C. And then Dulles International Airport is gonna be about 7 to 10 miles away from Ashburn. So if you gotta travel a lot for work, there is nothing better than having an international airport in your backyard. So one of the best parts about living in Ashburn is the location. Literally everything you need is in Ashburn or very close by. You're close to town centers, restaurants, malls, plazas, parks and recs, after school activities for the kiddos, and more. Now the next section of this video is gonna be the top 3 neighborhoods. Now the first neighborhood is gonna be Ashburn Village. And Ashburn Village is gonna be a family-friendly neighborhood which broke ground back in 1988, which actually makes it Ashburn's oldest master plan community. So Ashburn Village, it is a massive community, like I said, features over 5,000 homes with condos, townhomes, and single families. So I personally actually lived in Ashburn Village for over 3 years and I absolutely loved it. And one of my favorite parts about living in Ashburn Village was the resort style amenities. There was baseball fields, like 5 pools, basketball courts, soccer fields, and over 50 miles of walking trails. And then one of the highlights of the amenities is the 32,000 square foot sports pavilion. And inside the sports pavilion, you have your gym, you have an indoor basketball court, pool, sauna, and more. And hands down, the best part about living in Ashburn Village, it is the 8 lakes and ponds. They are beautiful, they're stunning. You can actually even do catch and release fishing, you can go canoeing. And the best lake by far is Pavilion Lake. When I lived in Ashburn Village, I literally walked this lake almost every single day, weather permitting. And there's like a 1.5-mile trail right around it, and it's beautiful. Walk around it on a spring day, you see like turtles and a lot of wildlife. But that's one of the best parts about Ashburn Village is the lakes and ponds. Now the next top neighborhood you need to keep an eye out for, and that's gonna be Moorfield Station. And Moorfield Station is gonna be a much newer neighborhood, especially compared to Ashburn Village. And the majority of the homes in Moorfield Station were built after the year 2015. And again, the majority of the homes are gonna be luxury townhomes or luxury 2-over-2 style townhouse style condos. Now these luxury townhomes in Moorfield Station, they're absolutely stunning. And they're actually, a lot of them are the size of single family homes. There'll be 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,000, as high as 4,000 square feet. That's massive. 2-car garage, and a lot of them feature my personal favorite, the rooftop terrace. Literally nothing is more fun hanging out with your friends, family, beautiful summer day, and having a cocktail or 2. But make sure I get that invite. Now the best part about Moorfield Station and why it's on my list, you are walking distance to the now finally open Ashburn Metro Station, which we're going to talk about in more detail later on in this video. But if being close proximity to the Metro is very important for you, then there's no better neighborhood out there than Moorfield Station. Next on the list is going to be Willisford. And hands down, Willisford is the most premier luxury neighborhood, not just in Ashburn, but in all of Loudoun County. So Willisford is actually one of the DC area's largest master plan communities, and it sits over 4,000 acres. And in fact, it's so big, half of Willisford's in Ashburn and the other half is in Aldie. And Willisford literally has every single amenity you can imagine. The only thing it does not have is a golf course. So obviously it has all the pools and the gyms, all that basic stuff. But you can do archery classes, cooking classes, even has its own farmer's market. And then we gotta talk about the homes of Willisford. They're absolutely the most beautiful homes anywhere in Northern Virginia. The majority of them were built after 2014. And the price range of homes here, they start off in the low millions and they go as high as $2.8 million. But in my opinion, worth every single penny. Because when you move to Willisford, this will hands down be your forever home. In fact, when I was driving through Willisford to get the drone footage for this video, I had my wife with me, and the whole time we're driving through the neighborhood, she was like, David, we have to move here. The homes here are 10 out of 10. I cannot believe it. We need to move right now. Another thing with Willisford, every time I'm showing a house there or going there to get drone footage, I always see neighbors talking to each other, kids riding around their bikes. I just get a very good vibe and sense every single time I'm in Willisford. In a bonus neighborhood I want to throw in this video, and that's going to be Belmont Country Club. Belmont Country Club is going to be the only gated golf course community in Ashburn. It is an absolutely gem of a neighborhood. I even got married there 2.5 years ago. So of course I got to throw Belmont Country Club in this video. But if you like resort style amenities, having a golf course in your neighborhood, plus the security of a gated community, I would definitely have Belmont Country Club on your list. And before we jump on to the next section, if you're even thinking about moving to Ashburn or anywhere else in Northern Virginia, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me email. Love to chat with you. Just know I got your back when you move into Virginia. Now we have the pros and cons of living in Ashburn, Virginia. So yes, Ashburn, it is fantastic. But just like with anything else in life, there's gonna be some cons. But let's start off with the pros first. Now the first pro of living in Ashburn, Virginia is gonna be how much newer it is compared to a lot of other towns in Northern Virginia. In fact, I'll share with you an interesting stat about Ashburn. Back in 1985, which is not that long ago, Ashburn had a population of 200 people. That is mind-boggling. Literally Ashburn, all it was just farmland. So Ashburn is going to have a much newer infrastructure, especially compared to a lot of other towns in Northern Virginia. So that's going to give you newer buildings, newer roads, newer schools, newer plazas, newer parks and recs, and newer town centers. But everybody's favorite part is going to be newer homes. In fact, 52% of all homes in Ashburn were built after the year 2005. And if we compare that to Fairfax, for example, only 11% of all homes in Fairfax were built after the year 2005. And if you want to live in the newest part of Ashburn, if you didn't know, Ashburn is split between two zip codes, 20147 and 20148, and hands down the 20148 side, it's way newer overall compared to 20147. In fact, 57% of all the homes in the 20148 zip code were built after the year 2010. But that's one of my favorite parts about living in Ashburn is how new everything is, and I could definitely tell a difference, especially when I go into Fairfax or Arlington County. A lot of it's a lot older, so it's not gonna look as pretty to the eyes, and that's one of the best parts about living in Ashburn is just how new everything is. Now the next pro of living in Ashburn is gonna be traffic. Now you're probably thinking, David, how in the world is traffic a pro of living in Ashburn? Well, let me explain. So that traffic in Ashburn, it is literally almost non-existent. I could go right now at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and drive from one end of Ashburn all the way to the other end of Ashburn and hit no traffic at all. So it's very easy driving in Ashburn. I absolutely love it. Another aspect to that too is there's hardly any potholes in Ashburn. You don't have people cutting you off when you're driving around Ashburn. Just very stress-free driving. So literally like a week ago, I was driving in Arlington. Now that's a complete different ball game compared to driving in Ashburn. A lot of traffic, takes you 30 minutes to drive 3 miles, potholes, people cutting you off. It's a very high stress environment. But yes, that's one of the best parts about living in Ashburn is very little traffic and just easy driving overall. Now the next pro is entertainment. You're looking for something to do this weekend? You live in Ashburn, guess what? You're gonna have zero problems trying to find something fun to do, whether it's for the family or you and your friends going out. So first, let's start off with the wineries. So Loudoun County is known as DC's wine country, and in Western Loudoun, you have over 40 wineries to pick from. There's nothing more fun than going there for a weekend, maybe a Saturday, beautiful spring day like it is today, and hanging outside, having some wine, cheese and crackers, just hanging out with your friends and family. It is so much fun. Next, you have One Loudoun. One Loudoun is actually right here in Ashburn. It is basically the downtown of Loudoun County. So entertainment at One Loudoun, first you have your movie theater, ton of great restaurants. The wife and I, we do a date night at least once every 2 weeks in One Loudoun, especially Uncle Julio's, one of my favorite restaurants in all of Ashburn. And then if you're a golf fan, right across the street from One Loudoun is Top Golf. And right next to Top Golf, indoor skydiving with iFly. And this is just naming a few entertainment aspects. You have a lot of parks and recs right here in Ashburn and all throughout Loudoun County. Plus you get all the entertainment aspects of the rest of Northern Virginia and DC as well. Now the next pro of living in Ashburn, and that's gonna be safety. Now this is coming from my personal perspective, my personal experience of living here since 2017. Not reading any stats, not going by anybody else's point of view, but living here for 6 years, I felt unsafe in Ashburn 0 times. I feel like it's one of the safest places I've literally been ever in my life. And I've been in other parts of the country, felt very unsafe. I've been in other parts of Northern Virginia and definitely have felt unsafe. So put it this way, I'm 100% comfortable having my wife and my soon-to-be born daughter, 2 weeks away by the way, walk around our neighborhood or the neighborhood next door or basically anywhere in Ashburn, and I have 0 to worry about. Now, I'm not saying there's 0 crime here. That's obviously impossible. Again, do your own research on this, but me personally, I feel like it's one of the safest places I have ever personally lived. Now, off to the cons of living in Ashburn. And first on the list is gonna be airplane noise. So yes, Ashburn's right next door to Dulles International Airport, which is absolutely awesome, by the way. But the flip side to that is, no matter where you live in Ashburn, you're definitely gonna hear airplane noise. Now, I will say this, I've lived in 3 different neighborhoods in Ashburn, and when I'm inside my house, I don't really hear the planes at all. Maybe if the window's open and I don't have my TV on. Now, if you like to walk outside like I do, then you're definitely gonna hear the airplanes, and this is what they sound like. So yes, the airplane noise, to me, it's a slight inconvenience. Should it be a deal breaker for you deciding if you can move to Ashburn or not? I do not think so. And to be honest with you, the only time I even think about the airplane noise is when I bring it up in my YouTube videos. Now the next con is Ashburn's gonna be far away from Arlington and DC. So yes, there's a lot of jobs here in Ashburn, but high probability if you live in Ashburn, your job's gonna be in like Fairfax County, Arlington County, or even as far as Washington, DC. So if your office is in Washington, DC, for example, and you gotta travel there 5 days a week, then I would probably not recommend living in Ashburn. Because that traffic getting to and from DC, it is going to be brutal. I mean, you're looking at least an hour to an hour and a half each way getting to and from DC. Now, one way to get into like Fairfax County, Arlington County, or DC a lot quicker with less traffic will be to take the toll road. But guess what? That will cost you a lot of money and will add up very quickly. Now, if you only have to go there maybe once a week, twice a week, it's definitely doable. Like my wife, for example, we obviously live here in Ashburn. She works in Washington, DC, but she only has to go there once, maybe twice every 2 weeks. So it actually works out perfectly for her. Now, with that being said, I do personally know a lot of people who live here in Ashburn and work in DC, and they go in there 5 days a week just because they love living in Ashburn so much. They're willing to deal with the traffic every single day just because of the quality of life that they get with living in Ashburn. Now, the next con of living in Ashburn is homeowners associations. So many times I have people relocating from another part of the country where they're not really used to having HOAs, and they're like, hey David, we definitely want to live in Ashburn, but with no HOA. Unfortunately, 99% of homes in Ashburn either have some sort of HOA or condo association. So you can definitely find homes with no HOAs throughout Northern Virginia, but it's basically impossible right here in Ashburn. So a con with having an HOA, obviously you have an HOA fee. Here in Ashburn, Virginia, they go anywhere from like $100 a month to as high as $400 per month. And then you have to worry about the rules and regulations of the certain HOA. Let's say you want to add a fence or a deck to your backyard. Guess what? You gotta get that approved by the HOA, and a lot of people just don't like that. So it's not all bad with having an HOA. A lot of these HOAs, you get the community amenities like pool, clubhouse, gym. Some HOAs will actually cover your cable and internet. Some do trash and recycling, things like that. So there's definitely some benefits to having an HOA. Now the next con is, and this is gonna roll into our next section of this video, and that's gonna be the cost of living. So if you're moving to Ashburn from another part of Northern Virginia or even another part of the country, most of your monthly costs are gonna be the same. Your car payments can be the same. Your cell phone bills can be the same. Your Hulus and Netflix of the world are gonna be the same. However, there's gonna be one big difference, and that's gonna be your cost of housing. So the average sales price of a house right now in Ashburn is $735,000. And to put that into perspective, if I take Northern Virginia as a whole, the average sales price is $690,000. So actually Ashburn's a little bit more expensive compared to the majority of homes in Northern Virginia. Now what's crazy about what I just told you, with Ashburn being more expensive than Northern Virginia as a whole, I remember when I first got into real estate, like 2014, this is really before Ashburn and Loudoun County exploded in popularity. Used to be able to get a huge discount coming out to Ashburn and the rest of Loudoun County, huge discount. Like let's say a single family home in Fairfax was like 600,000, maybe like 500,000 here in Ashburn. Well, those days are long gone. And the demand for housing in Ashburn and the rest of Loudoun County really exploded in the past 3 to 5 years, especially with remote work and hybrid work becoming more the norm. So people now really have the flexibility to live anywhere they want in Northern Virginia, so that premium of living closer to downtown DC is not quite what it used to be. And the effect of all of this is much higher cost of housing right here in Ashburn. So what does an average sales price home in Ashburn even look like? So unfortunately, it's not gonna be a single family home because only 5 single family homes in the past 6 months have sold under $735,000. Really, for $735,000, that would get you a super ultra luxury 2-level condo with a beautiful rooftop terrace, or a townhouse probably built anywhere between 1995 and 2005, probably 2,500 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths with a 2-car garage. Now let's go to single family homes in Ashburn, and right now the average sales price of a single family home is $985,000, and I know that is a lot of money. Now you can definitely find some great single family homes for under that average sales price. And I'll give you 2 great neighborhoods that you should definitely check out if you want to be under that average sales price. And that's going to be Ashburn Village, which we brought up earlier in this video, and then Ashburn Farm. Now, yes, these are the 2 oldest neighborhoods in Ashburn. However, don't let that fool you. They're still great neighborhoods, family friendly, great location, and a great place to live overall. Now, if you want to learn more about the actual cost of living right here in Ashburn, Virginia, I did a video about 4 months ago where I break down all my personal expenses. I share with you my mortgage payment, how much I pay in taxes, how much I spend on food, gas, and more. I'll leave a link in the description. I highly recommend checking it out. Now let's dive into 5 more things that you must know about living right here in Ashburn, Virginia. First on the list is gonna be schools, and there's a lot of highly rated schools all throughout Ashburn and Loudoun County as a whole. And according to niche.com, Loudoun County is the 5th highest ranked school district in the whole state of Virginia. So I personally don't have any kids in the school systems, not yet. My daughter's gonna be born in about 2 weeks. But when she's ready to go to school, I'll be very confident with her going to the public schools here in Ashburn. Just based on all the reviews I've heard from my friends who live here, and my clients have helped move here as well. They've had very little complaints about the public schools here in Ashburn, Virginia. However, with that being said, you still want to do your own research because a school can be great for my daughter, but maybe not great for yours. So when in doubt, reach out to the principal, tour the school, and see if it's a great fit for your kid or not. The great place to start your research with schools is greatschools.org. It has a ton of rankings. I highly recommend checking it out. Next on the list is gonna be data centers. You're thinking to yourself, what the heck's a data center? So what they are, they're these huge buildings that hold computer systems. And in fact, Ashburn has the most amount of data centers in the whole world. And 70% of the world's internet goes through these data centers located here in Ashburn. Now, the majority of the data centers, they're all like within a square-mile radius in an area called Data Center Alley. And there's basically no residential homes in this area. So you don't have to worry about moving to a neighborhood, beautiful home. However, you got a huge data center in your backyard. So does having a lot of data centers right here in Ashburn affect the quality of life? Absolutely zero. It is a 0 factor in my life. I just want to let you know so that way you know everything there is to know about living in Ashburn. Now, the next thing you need to know about living in Ashburn is the Ashburn Metro Station. So the Ashburn Metro Station finally opened in November of 2022. It is the first time Metro is opening in Loudoun County, so now you can take the train to Reston, Tysons, Arlington, DC, all the way into Maryland. So the Ashburn Metro was actually originally supposed to open in 2018, but hey, better late than never, right? So I don't personally ride the Metro myself. It's probably been over 5 years since I even stepped foot on a Metro. But a common question I get is, hey David, how long is it gonna take to take the Metro from Ashburn all the way down to DC? Well, let's find out. So I went to the Metro website to see exactly how long it'll take you. And according to the website, it'll take 74 minutes. That includes 14 minutes of walking time. So is that better than driving from Ashburn to DC? Only you can answer that. But the good thing about being on the Metro, you can sit back, you can relax, you can be on your phone, your iPad, do work, check emails, things like that. Next on the list, Ashburn is home to the NFL's Washington Commanders. So it's funny, they're called the Washington Commanders. However, they actually play in their stadium is in Maryland, but their headquarters is right here in Ashburn, Virginia. So a lot of people, when they moved to Ashburn, they didn't realize that the Commanders' headquarters and practice facilities right here. So if you're an NFL fan, it's kind of cool being at your local grocery store and bumping into an NFL player. Next on the list, Ashburn has a high quality of life. Between how new, clean everything is, the safety, the great education system, beautiful homes, great place to raise a family, high income potential. It is just a fantastic place to live overall. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, I've lived in about 6 towns overall in Northern Virginia. I lived in Florida. I lived in other parts of the country. And hands down, Ashburn, Virginia is the best place I've ever lived. And don't just take my word for it. I'll share with you my dad's perspective. So my dad lived in Fairfax for about 20 plus years. He currently lives in Puerto Rico right now, but he always talks about moving back to the Northern Virginia area. And he would always say, I want to go back to Fairfax. However, the past 4 or 5 years, he visits me in Ashburn about once a year. And now after spending a lot of time in Ashburn, he realizes, wow, Ashburn's awesome. Forget Fairfax. If I move back to Northern Virginia, it's 100% going to be Ashburn. And if you're even thinking about moving to Ashburn or anywhere else in Northern Virginia, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. You know I got your back. And if you want to continue your research on what it's like living right here in Northern Virginia, check out these videos right here. And I'll see you on the next video.